Welcome friends to today's lesson, and my name is Ricky Sambo, and in this lesson we want to look at Biology 2023 paper 1, which was written under external candidates. I will answer the questions and try by all means to make you, more especially those that are writing, those that are sitting for exams, to pass, and I wish everyone the best of luck. So now we'll start with question 1. So question 1 reads, some lizards detach their tails when threatened by a predator. Which characteristic of living organism is shown? So the first one, it is excretion, growth, reproduction, and sensitivity. So you'd find that each and every living organism, it has characteristics. So number one, it is that their reproduction, it is one of the characteristics. Sensitivity, it is one of, and then growth also it is, and then we find that excretion. So this is not done. All these you cannot find them in non-living organisms. So non-living organisms, you can give an example of a stone. A stone does not move, reproduce, grow, or excrete. So these are characteristics of living organisms. So now, we are saying that some lizards detach their tails when threatened by a predator. So they detached their tails when threatened is the key word here. So threatened by a predator. So threatened by a predator is the key word here. So which characteristic of living organism is shown? So meaning that because it was threatened, it had to move. So because of that movement, it has come as a result of not excretion, not growth, not reproduction, but also sensitivity. So the answer here, it is D. So we can move to the second one. So the diagram show a plant and animal cell. So we have two cells here. So a plant and the animal. So this is a plant cell. So this one, it is a plant. So we have a plant, and then this one is the animal. So now you'd find that which of the labeled structure is found in both cells. So we want to find what is found in both cells, which is a plant and then which is animal. So when you look at it, you'll find that Y is given in an animal, and then here we have W, and then we have X, and then we have Z. So now which one can we find in both? So letters, so which letter, which of the labeled structure is found in both? So we have W. So what is W there? So what is W there? That is the cell wall. So you find that the cell wall, it is not found in an animal cell. So apart from that, we have X. So X, so X, X. So we have X. Okay, so X, you find that that is chloroplast. So that is the surface in which photosynthesis takes place. So you find that here you will not find them in what? In animals. And then apart from that, you find that we have Y. So Y. So Y is cytoplasm. So you find that Y is cytoplasm. So Y is cytoplasm. So you will find cytoplasm in number one, animal and plants, because that is where food is stored for a cell. So you find that you'd find them. So and then you find that Z is the vacuum. You will not find it in animals. So the answer here, it is C. And then we can move. So which of the following is not a tissue? So which of the following is not a tissue? So we have number one, A, which is blood, and then epidermis, and then we have C, leaf, and then we have a muscle. So now when you look at the two, when you look at these, we want to look at tissue. So you find that blood, it is a tissue. Blood, it is a tissue. So it does not qualify for this question. And then epidermis, also it is a tissue. So epidermis, you'd find it in the skin, and then we have a muscle. So the answer here, it is a leaf, because a leaf, it is an organ. So a leaf, it is an organ. So that is the answer. So the answer is C. And then we can move to question 4. So the graph shows how pH affects the rate of an enzyme controlled reaction. So which letter on the graph shows the optimum pH? So pH means that is we are looking at potential hydrogen there. So you find that the enzymes, each enzyme has its what we call the optimum point, where they would rise, and then once they rise, you find that they are performing their functions until they reach what we call the optimum point. So that optimum point, it is the last point that an enzyme is active on, and then from there it will start to denature, it will start to come down, to reduce until it is denatured. So you find that we have A, and then B, and then we have C, and then we have D. So when you look at here now, which shows optimum, so optimum is the last. So optimum is the last. So when you look at A, B, which one can be the optimum point? So the optimum point is C. Okay. The table shows results of some food tests. Which sample shows food containing both starch and proteins? So we have A, B, C, and D, and then Benedict solution, and then biorate reagent, and then ethanol, and then iodine solution. So now when you look at these, you'd find that number one, let us identify what we have, what we know. Let us identify what we know. And then you'd find that number one, what are we looking for here? So the table shows the result of food tests. So food tests, which sample shows food containing both starch and protein. So let us start with starch. So when we say starch, in a food substance which contains starch, you'd find that when Benedict solution is added, you'd find that number one, it will turn blue-black. So blue-black. And then you'd find that proteins, so proteins, it will turn purple. So proteins will turn purple. So now let us look at the answer there. The answer. So we are saying that blue, and then clear. And then we have, so ethanol, that is alcohol, so which is clear. And then we have the iodine solution, which is blue-black. So blue-black. So do we have, can this be an answer? No. So let us move to B, and then blue, that is Benedict, we add Benedict, so it will turn blue. And then biorate reagent, so it will turn purple. And then ethanol, clear. And then blue-black. Okay, so let us move again. So this one, it is, let us add the question mark, because we're going to come to it. Let us look at other options that we have. Then we have red, and then we have blue, and then we have ethanol cloud, and then iodine solution, we have brown there. Do we have brown? Do we have brown? No, we said that number one, they turn what? Blue-black and purple, because we are looking at starch and protein. So obviously the answer here, it is B. So B was the answer. Let us move to question 6. So which nutrient is needed to make the hemoglobin in red blood cells? So which one is needed? So the nutrient which is needed here. So number one, it is calcium. Is calcium needed? Is calcium needed? No. Calcium, it is not needed, because we're looking at red blood cells here. So calcium is not needed. So unless if we are talking about bones. So here it is not needed. So let us look at iron. So iron, yes, so iron is needed in red blood cells, so meaning that we don't have to go any further into waste time. So the answer here, it is iron. So let us move to 7. A plant has weak cell wall. Which of the following nutrients was the plant lacking? So number 1, we are looking at boron, and then calcium, nitrogen, and potassium. So meaning that these are nutrients, yes, but now which one was needed for strengthening of the cell wall? So it was dealing with the strengthening of the cell wall. So among the answers given, among the options given, so this one, boron, so it acts, or it strengthens the cell walls. So the answer here, it is A. So we can move. So the diagram shows a section through a leaf. Which arrow represents the diffusion of oxygen during photosynthesis? So this is a leaf. So we have a leaf, and then we have, this is the xylem there, and then we have the leaf cells, and then we have C, and then we have D, and then we have A, and then we have B. So now the question is, the diagram shows a section through a leaf. Which arrow represents the diffusion of oxygen during photosynthesis? So we are looking at oxygen there. So the only options that we can look at is A and what? And B. So now which one? So we have A, and then we have B. So meaning that A, it is where during photosynthesis the diffusion of oxygen during photosynthesis. So meaning that we have A. So A, we are saying that it is going out like that, and then the other one, it is going in. So now for photosynthesis to take place or to occur, there must be, number 1, sunlight. So sunlight, and then there must be air. So air that we are talking about is carbon dioxide. So meaning that these, the and water, so these, they are agents that makes photosynthesis to take place. So in this case, the byproduct of photosynthesis, so byproduct is oxygen. Why? Because oxygen is not needed. So meaning that it will excrete, it will be removed. So meaning that here we have A. So A, meaning that is the diffusion of oxygen during photosynthesis. So the answer there, it is A. So A was the answer. Let us move to question 9. So question 9. A tick feeding on the blood of a dog is an example of, so we have a tick which is feeding on the dog. So meaning that the dog was, now we want to know an example of this. So you'd find that we have commensalism, and then mutualism, and then parasitism, and then we have predator. So you'd find that number 1, we are looking at here the ones that we can, this is as in the communal, and then mutual, meaning that both are able to benefit from each other. And then parasitic is where now you'd find that we are an example, a parasite. Now it is we have the host and the parasite, and then from there we have the predation. So predation is where, from the word predator, so meaning that someone is or something is hunting another. So here normally it happens to animals. Now we are looking at a tick. So what can be that? So the best example is a parasite. so which is parasitism. So that is the answer there. So we can quickly move to B. And then the dental formula of a dog is, so we have the dental formula for a dog is X, and then we have over 3. So this is incisors, and then we have canines, which is 1/1, and then we have premolars, which is 4/4, and then we have molars, which is 2/3. So the total number of teeth in the mouth of the dog is 42. So find the value of X. So meaning that if the total number of teeth in a dog, so teeth in a dog is 42. So meaning that we have to find a number such that when we add, so meaning that on top there is X and then below there is 3. So meaning that 3, we have 3, and then we can 4, 5, then when you multiply, and then you find that the numbers that we're going to have should be equal to 42. So meaning that when you look at here, the numbers that we can have is which one can suit or which one can help us to know and to identify. So you'd find that here we have the canines, they are 1, 1, and then obviously the incisors, they are 3. So meaning that here there must be a 3. So the answer there is B. So we can move quickly to 11. So the diagram shows the human alimentary canal. Which labeled structure produces gastric juice? So we are looking at gastric juice there. So number 1, we have A, B, C, and D. So meaning that so gastric juice is produced by which organ? When you look very carefully, okay, so obviously it is not produced in A, and then when we look at B, okay, so C, it is not an answer, and then D also it is not an answer. So the answer is what? The answer is B there. And then we have the diagram shows a gill of a fish. So we have this is a gill of a fish, and then so gill of a fish, we have this is the gill bar. So we have the gill bar there. So we have the gill bar, and then from there we have this is what we call the gill filament. So the gill filament, and then we have, and then this is the gill racers. So gill racers. So in which labeled part does gaseous exchange takes place? So you find that the gill filament are the ones that helps in gaseous exchange. So the answer is D there. The diagram shows the life cycle of a mosquito. Which stage in the life of a mosquito transmits pathogens? So which one transmits pathogens? So we have A, B, C, and D. So you'd find that which stage. So the stage which transmits pathogens is, obviously it is A, because A, the mosquito has matured, and at this stage you'd find that it can transmit an infection. So we can move quickly to the 14th. So stigma against people living with HIV and AIDS can be reduced by. So how can we reduce people living with HIV to have stigma? So how can we reduce that? So let us look at the options given. So we are looking at the options. So we are looking at the options given. So we have fear, and then lack of information, myths, and then sensitization. So obviously fear, you find that it comes as a result of stigmatization, and then lack of information, and then myths, and then we have sensitization. So the answer on this one, how can it be reduced? How can it be reduced? So it can be reduced if people are sensitized, so that they do not have stigma against people living with HIV and AIDS. That people with HIV and AIDS, they can also live a normal life. So the answer is D. So let us move diagram. So the diagram shows some storage organ in plants. So we have P, Q, and then we have R there. Which of the following correctly identify these organs? So we have A, B, C, and D. So when you look at the first column that we have, it is P, and then the second column it is Q, and then the third column it is R. So we have the comb, and then rhizome, and then we have tuber, and then we have comb, tuber, and then rhizome, and then we have rhizome, comb, tuber, and then we have rhizome, tuber, and comb. So the answer here is the answer here, it is D. So the first one, which is the rhizome, and then we have the tuber. So an example there, it is maybe a sweet potato, it can be an example, and then an onion there is an example. We can look at how roots are produced. So here it is below, here it is here, and then the roots here, we have the roots, if you can see them. So that is the difference between the two. So this is a tuber and then a comb there. So let us move to 16th. So the table shows blood group in human being. So we have A, B, and then we have O. Which blood group can be donated to any person? So which blood group can be donated to any person? So we have A, and then we have AB, and then we have B, and then we have C. So meaning that A can be donated to these two. So it can be donated to A, and then it can also be donated to B, and then even someone who has AB can be donated by O. So meaning that O, it is a recessive donor, meaning that anyone who has any type of blood group can be donated by O, someone who has O. So we are saying that is the answer there, D. So we can move. So the diagram shows the section of the human heart. So this is the section of the human heart. So we have the first one, it is the left atrium. So this is the left atrium. So left atrium, and then here, so this is the right ventricle, and then we have, obviously these are valves. So we have valves there. So now when you look at the structure, what is the function of the structure labeled Q? So the function of valves. So the function of valves is to prevent the backflow of what? Blood. So the answer there is C. So prevent backflow of blood into part P, yes, which is to prevent the backflow of blood to the left atrium. So let us move to question 18. So where is urea made and where is it removed? So number one, you have made and then removed. So you'd find that we have the first one is kidney, and then bladder, and then kidney, and then we have kidney, and then liver, and then we have kidney, and then liver, and the rectum. So where is it removed? So urea, you'd find that urea is made in the liver, and then it is excreted in kidney. So that is the process of urea. So how urea is excreted and made. So the answer there, it is C. So we can move to question 19. So the diagram shows a section through a human skin. Which labeled structure releases sweat on a hot summer day? So you find that we want to identify. So we have A, and then we have B, we have C, and we have D. So here, sweat, we are looking at the sweat, how sweat is released. So you find that this is C. When you look at here, so this is where sweat is released so as to cool the body of an individual, a person, or a living organism. So we find that the answer there is C. Let us quickly move to 20. So we quickly move to question 20. So which one of the following is not an endocrine gland? So endocrine gland. So we have pancreas, and then salivary, and then we have testis, and then we have thyroid. So we want to know which one is not a endocrine gland. So the answer here, it is okay. So the salivary, it is not an example of an endocrine gland, but a pancreas, it is an example, a testis, it is an example, and then thyroid, it also. So the answer here, it is B. So we can quickly move. When the nervous system responds to a stimulus, there are several stages leading to the response. The following are the stages. So meaning that we have the central nervous system. So the central nervous system responds to stimulus. So the stimulus, we can give an example of maybe heat and the like. So meaning that the central nervous system will respond to that. So it can be coldness, so it can be hotness. So meaning that it will respond to that. So there are several stages leading to response. So the following are stages. So the first one is the central nervous system. The central nervous system processes the information. The receptors detect the stimulus. A nerve impulse is sent to the central nervous system. A response is responded. A nerve impulse is sent to the muscles. So now you have to identify, before going to an answer, you have to identify them here. So now how do you identify? So you start with the first one. So how do you arrange them? So you start with the first one before going to the answers, so that it helps, so that you don't waste a lot of time. So the first one, when you look at here, so you find that the receptor will detect the stimulant. So meaning that if, let us give an example of the skin. So you find that the skin will detect maybe anything. And then from there, obviously, it will be sent to the central nervous system. The central nervous system then will react. So, and then you're going to react as an individual. So from there, so you find that when you look at the information given, so this is the first one. And then the second one, you'd find, let us find the second one. So the receptors detect the stimulus. So apart from that, you'd find that a nerve impulse is sent to the central nervous system. The central nervous system processes the information. No. So the answer is, you'd find that the nerve impulse is sent to the central nervous system. So this is the second one. And then apart from that, you'd find that, so we have the second one. And then apart from that, you'd find that the other one is after the impulse is sent to the central nervous system. So the central nervous system now will respond. So before it responds, obviously, it has to process the information. So the answer here, obviously, this is the third. And then we can move to the other one. After the central nervous system processes the information, what will follow next? So we have response is produced. A a nerve impulse is sent to a muscle. Yes, so meaning that this is the fourth one. And then obviously you're going to respond. So for example, we can give another example. If you're holding on something which is hot, so meaning that then you're going to react. Now how are you going to react? So you're going to remove your hand. So by removing the hand, it means that the receptor detects the stimulant. So meaning that the hand has detected the stimulant, which is heat. And then apart from that, the information now is sent to the central nervous system through the nerve impulse. So when the nerve impulse sends to the central nervous system, you'd find that the central nervous system, which is the brain, will process the information. After processing the information, then you'd find that the nerve impulse will be sent now to the muscle. So the muscle now will help in order to respond to the to what is being produced, and therefore you're going to remove your hand then. So this happens in a twinkling of an eye, which is maybe less than a second. So now let us look at the correct. So what is the correct order of the stage? So we have 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 4, and then we have 2. So the first one, it is 2. So let us look at, so we disqualify C and D. So the second one, which is the third one, so meaning that the answer is, we have this A and then we have also B there. So we can move a little further. Which one should follow? So which one is the third? Okay, we have 1. 1 is the third, and then so the answer is A there. So we can move. Okay, so the diagram shows a lane. So we have the lens that is used to correct a defect in a human eye. So we have a defect in the human eye. So we have the lens there, and then we have an eye there. So now, which defect is corrected by this lens? So meaning that we have to know which one is the corrected by this lens. So number 1, we have cataract, and then long sight, and then we have presbyopia, and then short-sighted. So now we have the person who is, so the person, because when you look at it, you find that when light or an image is produced, you find that it will go direct there. So meaning that it will go direct there, so that it can be translated or interpreted. So meaning that a person was a long sight. So the answer there, it is B. Okay, so the diagram shows part of a mammalian skeleton. So we have femur, and then we have W there. So which of the following correctly identifies a bone labeled W and the type of skeleton? So we have W, and then we have the skeleton. So we can identify those skeletons. So when you look at the skeleton, so we have endoskeleton and then exoskeleton. So these, you find that exo meaning that out, and then endoskeleton, that is inside. So we are looking at now W. So W, when you look at it very carefully, you find that W, it is fibula. That is an endoskeleton. So the answer there, it is A. And then the diagram shows an experiment carried out in order to establish the process of tropism in plants. So you find that this is the response, because we are looking at the stimulant and the stimulus. So the stimulus, so meaning that we have a shoot there. So this is before, and then we have after 1 week. So you find that this has changed. So the change is that it has started going up. Now you find that the diagram shows an experiment carried out in order to establish the process of tropism in plant. So what type of tropism was exhibited by the shoot of the potted plant? So you find that we have number 1, this is it can be moving towards light, or it can be moving towards gravity, or it can be moving towards light. So in this case, you'd find that the answers given here. So the answers given here, we have negative geotropism, meaning that it is not moving towards the ground, because we are looking at geo means earth, and then tropism means response. And then so meaning that negative, it is not going towards the gravity, the gravitational force. And then the other one, it is negative phototropism. So photo means light, and then tropism means response. Now here you don't have light there, so we may not know if it was responding to what, to light. We don't know. And then positive geotropism, that is where now it is responding to gravity. And then positive hydrotropism, so hydro means water, so it is responding to water. So here when you look, we don't have water, so the only answer here is negative geotropism, because it is opposite to earth. So the answer here, it is A. So we can move. So the diagram shows the early growth of a green plant. So we have a green plant there. So you find that a green plant, we have P and Q. So when you look at it very carefully, what is occurring in the diagram from P to Q? So from P to Q, so we have mitosis, and then we have development. So now which one? So let us look at the key. It helps. So we have occurs and then does not occur. So meaning that in P and D, or P and Q, what can you observe there? So what can you observe there? So you'd find that number one, what you can observe is the change. Number one, in what? In size. So when you look at it very carefully, you'd find that there is an increase in what? In size. So there is an increase in size, and you look at it very carefully, you'd find that there are certain things that have developed here, or the roots have grown, the roots here have grown. So now we want to look at the answer there. So number one, okay, so we have development and mitosis, and then mitosis occur, and then development. So meaning that we disqualify B, and then mitosis, and then we disqualify even C. So meaning that the answer is A. So the answer there, it is okay. So we can move. Some seeds were sown in 4 dishes under different conditions as shown in the table. So we have dish 1, dish 2, dish 3, and dish 4. So the temperature is 1, 2, or 1, 1, and then 20, 20, and then dry, wet, and dry, and then wet. So in which dish will the seed germinate most rapidly? So meaning that for a seed to germinate, number one, it needs air. So it needs air. So we have air. What else apart from? Okay, so for it to germinate, it needs air, and then we have enough water. So those are things that are needed in order for it to germinate. So we want to know which one now. So you'd find that obviously temperature is moderate here, and then dry, you'd find that it will not germinate. So obviously the answer here, it is D, because we have moderate temperature, and then also we have a wet, meaning that water is there. And then let us move to question 27. So the diagram shows asexual reproduction in uncellular organisms. So when you look at it very carefully, you find that there is a separation there, division is taking place there. So what name is given to the type of asexual reproduction? So we want to look at asexual reproduction. The answers here is binary fusion, and then budding, and then we have fragmentation, and then spore formation. So here, when you look at the diagram very carefully, so you find that here it is binary fusion, because bi means what? Means 2. So this is the answer there. Okay, so we can quickly move to the other question. So the diagram shows one method of artificial vegetative propagation. So we have 3, 2, and then we have 1. So when you look at we have 3, 1 and 2. So what type of artificial vegetative propagation is demonstrated in the diagram? So meaning that we have to know which one is demonstrated in the diagram. So the first one is budding, and then grafting, and then layering, and then stem cutting. So you'd find that the answer here it is, so the answer here we have, when you look at the multiple choice given, so the answer is A, because that is where you remove the outer layer of the plant and then you attach it with another. And then grafting, that is where you cut, so you cut like that, and then the other one which is cut like that, and then you so this is another one. So meaning that this is what we call grafting. And then so you find that these are methods, artificial methods of vegetative propagation. So the answer here according to the question is budding. And then cutting, that is where you cut the stem and then you plant it. So the diagram shows some parts of a flower where the male gametes produced. So we want to look at the male gametes. So we are looking at the female and the male. So meaning that this is the female. So this is the female part of a flower. So this is the female part of a flower. Meaning that if this is the female part of a flower, then we can disqualify B, we disqualify it, and then also we can disqualify D, and then we can disqualify. So the only answer which is remain, which we have remained with, is C. So here it is where we find anther. That is where we find anther, and then from there you find that pollen grains are produced. So the answer here it is C. Which fruit will be dispersed by wind? So wind, it is an agent of acid disposal. And then so we have fruit, and then description. So we are looking at fruit and description. Number 1, fleshy and scattered, and then lightweight and has a wing, and then sticky and has a hook, and then sweet tasting, brightly colored. So meaning that this is insects. So we have insects, and then hook, animal. So where an animal carries, and then we can give an example. This is wind because of light, wet, and then with wings which has a surface area for wind to be to carry. So the answer here it is B. So the diagram shows the female reproductive system. What does fertilization? Where does fertilization takes place? So we want to look at where fertilization takes place in question 31. So you find that, so we have sorry for the cutting of the question. So D was below, that is the vagina, and then from there C, and then we have B. Now meaning that when the egg are produced, so they will move. So as the sperm comes in, you find that they will meet in the fallopian tube there, and then obviously fertilization will occur. After fertilization, now it will come and to implant itself here in the uterus. So meaning that where fertilization takes place is A. And then we can quickly move. The diagram show 4 methods of birth control. Which one is a hormonal method? So meaning that we have the release of hormones. So we want to look at the release of hormones. So meaning that this is hormones does not, this is where we find the loops and the like. So meaning that hormones are not produced because this T that we see here, you just go and block so that the sperm does not go through the does not reach or does not meet the ovule which is produced in the ovaries. And then same applies with these are condoms, and then we have that one also, it is a condom there. So you find that now A, you'd find that hormones are released, because this is a tablet, or these are tablets that awakens the hormones which are released to delay in the production of the ovum. So the answer here, it is A. And then a study was made of children whose mother was blood group O. So genotype, we have OO, and then the father blood group AB, genotype AB. Which statement about their children is correct? So now when you look at here, we are looking at, so we have the mother, so we have mother, just a quick one, and then we have father there, and then we are looking at the mother, so fathers, okay, so we have A, so the father, the mother, it is, we have O, and then we have O, and then we have A, which is that is the father, and then we have that is the father. So meaning that we're going to have the first one, we're going to have who was A, and then okay, so we have the second one. For the second one, we have B, then the third one. So the third one, we are moving like this. So meaning that we have A, and then over there, and then we move to this one. So B, and then so we have O. So now when you look at it, so we have this one. So this one and this one, and then we have that one and that one. So meaning that they were in pair of 2, 2. So let us look at the answers given. So the answers given, so the answers which are given here. So O will have the same blood group. So that is no, because you find that they differ. 1 and B, 1 and A, they differ. And then 50% will have the same blood group as their mother. No. And then 50% will have the same blood group as their father. No. None will have the same group as either parent. So when you look at this explanation given in form of a genetic diagram will help. So the answer there, it is, so the answer there, it is D. And then which of the following is beneficial use of mutation? So beneficial use of mutation: number 1, creation of nuclear plants, and then formation of ultraviolet light, and then making polyploid plants in agriculture, making of X-ray machines in hospitals. So the use of mutation. So the use of mutation, you'll find that it is C. So the making of polyploid plants in agriculture. Okay, so we can move. Which of the following are characteristics of a fish? So characteristics of a fish, we are looking at characteristics of a fish. Number 1, maintaining constant body temperature. External eyes, jelly covered eggs, yes. And then scales, yes. So when you look at here it is saying no. And then plants, external eyes, no. So the answer here, it is D. So which factor will cause a decrease in population size? So population size can be reduced, or the population size can reduce due to 3 factors. Number 1, death rate, and then number 2, birth rate, and then number 3, migration. So these 3, they will contribute to population size and change. So meaning that decreased death rate, so death rate will also, yes, decrease in diseases, decreased food supply, decreased predation. So here the answer is, so the answer here at question, so decrease in predation. So which factor will cause a decrease in population size? our population will decrease. So decrease in death rate, no, so this is not the answer, unless if it was high death rate, yes. And then decrease in diseases, it means that there are no diseases. And then decrease food supply, we find that still people they would be producing even if food supply is low. But so the answer is decrease in predation. Okay, so we can, so the diagram shows part of the carbon cycle. So the carbon cycle. So when you look at the diagram given, we have carbon dioxide, plant, animal, and dead matter. So dead matter, we are looking at a plant, and then we have animal, and then now we have X. What does arrow X represent? So we want to know what X represents. So number one, decay. So number one, it is decay. Number two, we are looking at nutrition, and then photosynthesis, respiration. So you find that number one, carbon dioxide, we have an arrow which shows carbon dioxide there, and then carbon dioxide is also produced. So carbon dioxide, we are looking at, this is an animal. So animal, they will produce carbon dioxide, and then they will take in oxygen. And then you find that plants, so we have a plant, so a plant, so meaning that a plant will take out oxygen, and then will take in what? Carbon dioxide. So now when you look at the two, so carbon dioxide is removed from the environment, so is removed from the environment. And then you find that animals, they remove only oxygen in the environment, and then they release carbon dioxide in the environment. So meaning that here we have plants. So how do plants now releases carbon in the air? So when you look at the answers given, so we have photosynthesis, respiration, and then so the answer here, the answer is number one, plants will do what? Will decay. So when we say respiration, it is it can be taking in and out of what? Of air. So the best answer that we can give there, it is decay, because carbon is produced. So carbon, when it reacts with oxygen, we're going to have carbon dioxide in the what? In the air. Which of the following is an effect of deforestation? So deforestation is the cutting down of trees. So this shouldn't be done. This shouldn't be done because it leads to global warming. So A, decrease carbon dioxide content in the air, decrease flooding of low-lying land, increased rainfall, and then decrease the rate of soil erosion. So which of the following is an effect? So an effect, we are looking at the negative impact. So the negative impact of deforestation. So when you look at the answers given, the answer here, it is increase in the rate of soil erosion. So soil erosion will be increased. So increased rainfall, unless we have a lot of plants. Decrease flooding of low-lying, it has nothing to do with this. And then decrease carbon dioxide content in the air. So unless we have a lot of plants, that's when carbon dioxide will be consumed. So the answer here, it is D. And then we can move. So some examples of waste products of human activity are, so we have discarded household rubbish, and then excess fertilizer, industrial chemicals, and then untreated sewage. Which of these can cause increased growth of aquatic plants? So aquatic plants, we are looking at those plants that grow in what? In water. So the answer here, we have aquatic. We are looking at aquatic because which cause increased growth of aquatic. So the first one, when we look at the three, so we are looking at excess fertilizer, so it can be the answer. And then what else apart from that? Untreated sewage, yes. So those are the answers which can be given. So the answer here, it is C. And then let us move to question 40. So which of the following is a sustainable use of resources? So deforestation, it is not sustainable use of. And then game cropping. So game cropping is where you balance. So this is the killing of animals, where you balance the pyramid of numbers. That is an example that we can give. And then overfishing, and then overhunting. So the answer here, it is B. So as to balance the number of animals living in a community.